Welcome everybody to today's Get on the Bus, Rev Up Your Reference Skills. We'll have Marilyn Miller from EWC and Katie from the Law Library. Sorry, I'm looking at a screen here that's going away. We're doing a little troubleshooting as we go. Today's session will be archived. It should be available sometime on Friday when Jamie gets back to town. The mute button is your friend for this, unless you have hold music and mute button music in your library. In that case, if you'd not put it on mute, that'd be great. The homework today is due in 1 week, and then you'll be eligible for the $25 Amazon gift card and get in the running for that boogie board note-taking device. All of the homework's going to be due by April 15th. And if you get all your homework in by then, you'll go in the drawing for registration for WLA 2010, the iPod Touch, and there may be some other items. A couple other housekeeping things. If you are in a school library and need the PTSB, there's a form to fill out on the Get on the Bus site. Jamie's working on that with the Department of Education. If you're working on your support staff certification, there's a webinar on that on April 14th. It's on the State Library calendar. Take a look at that. This may count toward that as well. So today's program is on the library guides. Just a little heads up, it will run till 12:30. They have a lot of information to bring out to you. So if you can stay on that long and put off your lunch hour, that'd be great. So now I'm going to turn the controls over to Marilyn Miller. And that just takes a second for us to turn over my screen to her and for her to start sharing with you.
All right, well, I hit to do this, so we'll see if this gets through there, okay? Basically, what I'm going to talk about is a product called LibGuides. The community college libraries all went together and purchased this as one of our consortium purchases. And what we are using it for is actually a variety of things. We're doing some study skills guides to help students who need a little bit help in things like English grammar, and actually I'm working on one for some basic math skills. Being a college, ours are very much associated towards, coursework, but that is what we are doing. But a lot of community or public libraries and even school libraries are now using this product. And so I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of some of the ways it can be used and how easy it is to operate. Basically, because you will have homework using this product, I'm going to show you how to find LibGuides on the EWC Library's webpage, and our page is ewc.wy.edu. And over on the left here, we have our link to the library. And once you have gotten to that page, you can just slide down a little bit, and the second button is called Research Help. And then to the right of that is LibGuides. And by clicking on that, it brings up a list of LibGuides that we have produced here in the college. This is Becky and Casey and I who have been doing these things. And so we've been trying to make them available to all the students, both on campus and off campus, and anyone in the community who wants to use them as well. So just because there's something on our website doesn't mean you can't get in there and use it too. I'm just going to pull up an example, the anatomy and physiology of domestic animals. This is the very first LibGuide that I did, and so it was kind of a learning experience, and it started out with about 3 buttons across the top here, or 3 tabs, and you can see how it's grown since then. And down here on the right, you'll see my profile, and yes, that is my dog, my Newfoundland Ronin, in that picture. But on down, you'll also see that I have co-produced this with one of the veterinarians in our vet tech program. And so she's always constantly adding things as well. But we can add books. We've got just a general page here at the beginning on, says what this thing's for and how to get connected to the library. We have books, and I've gone through and I've selected certain titles out of the WILD system, which you can see here in the middle column, and actually pulled up titles. And I will show you how you can do this quick and dirty. It's really very easy. Over on the right, we have even a keyword search box that you can just put a term in, and it pops WILD open and does a keyword search for you right there. We've got websites, databases, professional organizations. We've gone through and pulled out multimedia from YouTube, TeacherTube, Films on Demand, which is one of the databases the college libraries have subscribed to. We've got RSS feeds, style manual that's being used by this instructor. Of course, plagiarism, because we're a college campus. And I have included a chat box. So you can see what this is like. Now we're going to actually get into the nitty-gritty of the LibGuides and see how you put one of these together. Over here on the right, I have my sign-in, so I can just sign in. My email is my username, and then I have a password. And for your homework, if you decide you want to do this, you just email me and tell me you want to do it, and I will set you up with an account on our system. So you can actually get in here and try this out and see how you like it. So we're going to go ahead and sign in. Now, across the top, you'll see that we have a command bar, and that's basically how you're going to go about doing a lot of these things. And this shows up anytime you want to edit a LibGuide that's already been produced or when you are creating a new LibGuide. So we're going to get out of the anatomy and physiology, and I'm going to go to my admin, which will allow me to create a new LibGuide. So here we are at the administrative site, and the very first thing you're going to do if you are new to creating LibGuides is you will customize your profile. And you would click here, and you pull in or put in the information that you want to appear. Like what's your position, or you can put an image out there. You don't have to put your picture out there if you don't want to. I've seen librarians who have put pictures from their childhood. They've just chosen a great piece of artwork, whatever. Your name, how to get a hold of you, an email address, and maybe even what subjects you are associated with, and you can make it very minimalistic, or you can really expand on it. And then you just save your profile right here, down here. And then I'm going to go ahead and cancel because I'm not going to change mine. If this is your first time in creating the LibGuide, there is a how-to video that has been created, and it's a really good way of doing that. So I really recommend you might want to go in and take a look at it. So we're going to create a brand new LibGuide, and this is what you would do is just click here, start fresh, give your LibGuide a title. If you would like to, you can give a description as to what this LibGuide is going to cover. And then if there are additional people, you can add editors. That's one thing we do here is for any LibGuides I have done, I have added Becky and Casey as editors, so that if they find a mistake, they can go in and fix things if I'm not around, and then create a new guide. Okay? I have one that I've already started, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel this and pull it up by doing this. I just select the pull-down menu, and I have one here for Get on the Bus. And this is going to be a guide that you can use because I have published it, so it's out there on our LibGuides home, which is, you can click right here to find it. And so here we go. I have a button, Home, and that's the only button I have. So I have Getting Started. I have some This is a little bit of a cheat sheet from the libraries at San Antonio College. Down below, the training video on customizing your profile. And here's an introduction to LibGuides in general from the producer, SpringShare. And so those are all great things to get into to take a look. Then also, the community site is a great place to start. By clicking on this, you come up with a website that looks like this, and it's a list of all of the libraries that are currently using LibGuides that are subscribed. And you can get an alphabetical listing of all the LibGuides and go through and try to find this college or other library that you are interested in seeing what they've done. Or you can filter it by a type of location or the library type. So I could limit it to higher education libraries or to public libraries, special libraries, or K-12 libraries. Or I could limit it by state, which is another great thing to do. If that's not what I really want to do, I want to find another LibGuide that's been done on a topic. I can explore LibGuides. And this is nice because I can see, well, what are the featured ones. In other words, these are really nice ones that they're promoting. Or I can say popular guides, recent guides, or by subject. And pulling it up by subject, I get a list from A to Z of all the LibGuides that have been done, and they've grouped them by subject area. So, you can get about the library, you can get accounting and taxes, you can get academic dishonesty, networking, aerospace engineering, you name it. It's really a terrific thing to use. And when you really get into this program, you can actually go through this, and if you find a LibGuide that you like, you don't have to go out there and recreate the wheel. You can contact the creator or the person who actually produced that LibGuide just by emailing them and say, this LibGuide's terrific, and I'd really like to use it and adapt it for my situation where I work. May I have permission to copy your LibGuide? And most people are so flattered, they just say, sure, go for it. Just send me a link so I can see what you stuck in there that I don't have. And actually, I've been in contact with a librarian at Adirondack Community College up in upstate New York. They have a vet tech program, and so I borrowed one of her LibGuides, and she's borrowed several of mine. So we just kind of check back and forth and see if anybody's found something new and interesting that we can just, use to add to ours. And it's been very helpful, because we are networking with librarians outside of the state of Wyoming, and it is benefiting our students and our communities. So that's the nice thing about this product. Okay, now let me go find get on the bus here again. All right, we're going to actually start doing something with this now instead of just talking about it. We are actually going to go through the command bar, guide settings, and the nice thing is you can, add editors and co-owners according to whoever has accounts. Change the colors. If you don't like the colors that I have, which is the light blue and white, you can change it to something that might be more appropriate for your situation. You can toggle where the comments show up. You can toggle all the profile boxes. If you don't like your profile box on the right, you can put it on the left, that sort of thing. And you can even create a backup. So once you do the homework and you're have this privately published, what you can do is create a backup, and then you will have all the information. Because after the homework is done and I've let Jamie know that you did it and it was correct and ready to go, I will be deleting your accounts. But you will still have the information. So if you wanted to use that information in one of the open source products that Katie's going to talk about, or you decide that your library really could use a LibGuide product, then maybe you can have this, and then you'll just be able to plug it back in and not have to start over again. All right, we're going to add a new page. And so we just click on Add New Page. And, oh, let's see. What did I say you were going to do on this homework? You were going to do a website. So we're going to call this page Websites. So, whoops, it helps if I spell right. So I just type in Websites. I want this tab as a top-level tab, not a sub-tab underneath that tab. And we don't have to worry about this URL. And we just say Create Page. And it brings up that tab. And it's blank. We have boxes now. Within the box, I'm going to add a new box so I can put websites in there. And I just want to add simple web links. So I'm going to click that. Oh, I'm sorry, I am creating a new box. But you can link to a box that's in the system, so another EWC box, or I can copy a box from any of the LibGuides and any of the EWC ones. Down here at the box title, I'm just going to call these websites again because I didn't come up with anything more creative than that. And I can't type today. So I'm creating my box. My box now says websites. I am ready to go out there and just add new links. And here we have create a new link. I can put in the title of the link, the URL, and say create link. So that's one way of doing it. There's another way of doing it as well. If I'm out on a web page, and I'm going to use the community site as an example, and I really want to put this in my web guide or my LibGuide, I can say post to LibGuides, and I'll show you how to find that button. And I just go through and say, yeah, put this on the Get on the Bus, and I want it under my websites page, and in my websites box. Oh, I'm not going to put a description in there, and I'm just going to say add this link. I close it down. I go back to my Get on the Bus, and it didn't show up. But if I go over to Home, and then back to Websites, there it is. One thing to remember, once something's up there, it's not set in stone. You can always edit anything. You can edit a tab or a page by making sure you're on that page and then going up to Add Edit Pages and saying Delete Page, which you pick the page you want to get rid of and it's gone. You can get rid of a box by clicking over here and saying Delete this box. Not a problem. And you can actually delete a website on there by just clicking on the little tools and say delete this link. That's all there is to it. To get this little thing up here, you go back to your My Admin page, and here is the Add Post to LibGuides button for your browser. You just click on that, and there's a little thing in there that just says, just drag this up there to that of your screen, and you're good to go. And that's all there is to that. Now I got to get back to my Get on the Bus here. Okay, so we have done a website, and that's really all there is to it. We're going to do something else here. We're going to add another page, and we're going to call this one, I've got my cheat sheet around here somewhere, Databases. And I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I don't have a URL, so I'm just going to create the page. And here we have our databases. And I'm going to add a new box. And so I'm going to do, actually, again, it's another web link. It's relatively simple. But this time I'm going to copy a link from another one in the system, and I'm just going to go to my Anatomy and Physiology again. And here are my databases. Suggested databases. There we go. Okay. And I'm just going to create my box, and there they are. Okay? It makes it very handy. And the nice thing is anything that I change should come back over and change with it. With the databases, you do have to add your proxy server in front of it if you want it to work so that people off campus can get in, or outside of the library can get into it. If not, you have to make these just in-library use only if you just use the regular link, because all you're going to do is put in the URL to get in there. Okay, so, whoops. Sorry about that, I hit the wrong button. All right, we're going back to the website. I'm going to edit another page. And this one will be an RSS feed. So I'll create a page. And I'm going to add a new box. And I'm going to just click on RSS feed. And I'll call it Laughing. I think we need a good something good and interesting right now. So I'm going to click on Add RSS Feed. And I'm going to go over here, or actually, sorry, it's not Laughing. This is something different. I'm going to look for the feeds that are already in the system, including any of the libraries out there across the nation. So I'm going to put on this day in history, or I guess it's just this day in history. And hit enter, and it will pull up a list of all of this day in histories that are listed. So I'll just take the History Channel 1, and I want it to come up in a pop-up. I don't want it to all be right there, so I'll just say update. And then we can just, again, we have to go back and then come back in, and then it should show up. And it's not wanting to show up right now. Edit the... What, Casey? All right, Casey's sitting here pointing at me. She told me to add... Oh, she wants me to change the title? Oh, she wants me to change the box title. Sorry about that. So we'll just call it RSS. All right, this one's not working, so I'm going to delete the choice I chose and choose another one. I'll go to one of the BBC ones because I know that works. Okay. Come on. Okay, my machine is not working now. Okay. Well, let's take this out and see if it doesn't help. There we go. Alright, we're going to do the BBC. Save changes. There we go. There it is. It came up. And now you can see what it looks like. If at any time when you are doing a LibGuide and you want to see what it's going to look like when you're all done and it's published, you can come up here to preview. It'll open up a new screen and you can actually see what it looks like without all the little edit markings in there. And you can click and it will open up a new window. Okay. So, that's all there is to doing an RSS feed. You can look and see what's already been done, or if you know of an RSS feed that you want to add, you just take the URL for it and plug it in, and that's all there is to it. It's really very simple. Okay, now we're going to do another new page, and this time we're going to do our video. And create our page, and we're going to go up here to YouTube, and I'm going to look for Newfoundland dogs. And so here we go, and here's this baby laughing hysterically at the Newfoundland dog. And, you know, as they get going, the baby just continues to laugh and laugh and laugh. Over here on the right where it says embed, you just click that, do a copy or Control-C copy, and we go back to our Get on the Bus. We're going to add our new box, and we're going to embed a video and include, thank you, Casey, and include in our box title, Laughing Baby. Create our box, and we'll embed our video clip, and we can search for videos again to see what's been done through the community, but we found this one, and I'm going to embed my information there, embed it, and here it is, and now I can just click right here, and my speaker's all turned down, but we can make the baby laugh again. And there he goes. So, that's, for those of you who don't know, I have Newfoundland dogs, and I just love this clip. So that's basically kind of the ins and outs of doing LibGuides. It's really very simple. When you are all ready to publish it, you can always add additional boxes over here. You don't have to if you don't want to. When you're ready to publish your work, if you actually are subscribed to this product, you can go in there and change your guide status. Whoops, let me get off this page and onto another one so we don't have that RSS feed in there. Let me cancel this. Where's my cancel? There it is. Because sometimes those videos stick in there. Well, hit the right button, Marilyn. Change your guide status. We're going to go ahead and change it down here. We are currently published, so I could change it back to unpublished. But if I only want certain people to have access to this, I can change it to make it private. And that's what you will do for your homework, is you will change it to private, and it will save a URL right up here, and you send that to me, and then I can get in and look and see what you've done. And that's all there is to this. When you're all done, you just sign out, and you're good to go. I don't know if anybody has any questions for me, but otherwise, I'm going to turn it back over to Chris and Katie.
Thanks, Marilyn. There was one question on the chat about the cost for the LibGuides.
Okay. Well, for all 7 community colleges, it only cost us about, it was under $7,000. It seems to me, when I was looking into it, it ran just around $1,000. I was really kind of surprised that it wasn't more expensive, and I know a lot of the libraries have actually gotten this product, and they use it for their website and everything else. I mean, they just really go to town with it. And actually, we're beginning to expand out a little bit. Our Learning Skills Lab is going to use this product, and they're going to use it through the library's connection, and also our advising information for faculty and financial aid for students. So, you know, it can be a whole product just for you name it. I mean, I've seen public libraries that have put in information on how you go about reserving a room, or when story time is going to be happening, special events. It's just really can do quite a bit. So.
Great. Okay. Anybody else have any questions before we move on to Katie's? All right. I've come back to the Get on the Bus page for the library guides. Be sure and check in on that. It's getonthebuswyoming.wordpress.com. That's where you can find out your information and get to your homework. Right now we're going to turn it over to Katie Lynn from the Wyoming State Law Library. And there you go, Katie.
I'm going to remind everyone that because Marilyn and I were co-presenting, our presentations are going to go until 12:30. So if you can stay that long, that would be great. If not, then have a good lunch. I'm going to briefly, well, as brief as I can, I'm going to present on first a little bit on how library guides can be a benefit or a challenge depending on how you do them and what you want to gain from them. So you're going to, as a learning outcome, be able to identify these benefits and challenges with library guides. Then I'm going to go on and show you some of the various open source software projects and systems that are out there for managing library guides, and then identify a few of the benefits and challenges for those as well. When you're done with this, when I'm done with this presentation, hopefully you will be able to kind of sort through the software systems that I've outlined and choose whether or not any of these might be good for your library, or with Marilyn's presentation on LibGuides, if LibGuides might be something you're interested in, and having someone else do most of the background database work for you. And then part of your homework, you can go even further and create a guide if you would like with some of these options. One of the challenges of library guides is that they're significant time in staff. You need to have staff not only with technical expertise for online library guides, but you would also have to have staff with content expertise. You need to have someone who knows the resources that the library holds and be able to prepare the library guide in a fashion that is usable by your users. And definitely with any of these open source systems, you are going to definitely need some technical expertise out there, especially for the open source content management systems. Library guides can also be very difficult to keep updated. It's easy for them to become stagnant. It's difficult to keep them all consistent as far as how they look, what their design is in just the content itself. If you have 5 to 10 different authors creating that many or more library guides, then they can have information ranging all over the place. They may all look different. So sometimes it's hard to keep library guides from being very confusing for students or users. Here again, readability, usability, if you don't have that consistent design. Also, it's very easy to make guides that are text heavy, and for an online guide in today's world, that's not something that our users are looking for. They want to see some of those lovely Web 2.0 offerings out there. They want to see video, they want to see images, they need something to gain their attention, and a text heavy library guide is not going to do it for them. Again, one of the problems with library guides is they can often get buried in a website. We have so much information that we're trying to provide for our users, and so many different methods of providing that information, whether it be a 360 search or a search with an OPAC overlay that provides something, a better interface than what our OPACs have, or you just are trying to promote services, or you're trying to promote your databases. Whatever may happen, your library guides can get buried. And also, a library guide is something we pretty much know. A library guide, a course guide, a pathfinder, those are terms that our libraries speak. Users don't understand that. They don't really care, and they're not going to probably go in and experiment with something they don't know what it is. So we need to be careful about how we present the information in library guides. And then lastly, if you're in an academic institution and you're wanting to create course guides, sometimes it can be difficult to get that faculty buy-in that can really help relate students to what you're doing. With faculty involvement, you can promote the library guide, the course guide, in a much more relevant manner. On the plus side, there are benefits for library guides, and librarians have always pushed for them, even though there has been a lot of study out there showing that they're not used very well because of a lot of those cons that I went over previously. But the biggest benefit of library guides is that we know our users want to find the best place to begin with their research. And the easiest way we have found to do that when we can't be with them face-to-face 24/7 is to create these library guides. So we want to be able to connect with students, with the community, or with other librarians even, at their point of need. This is one way that librarians do that. The benefits of a library guide nowadays is also providing somewhat of a human element, and a lot of the library guides, the open source software that I'm going to show, as well as the LibGuides that Marilyn presented on, have that human element. You can have a picture of the author of that library guide. You can have a chat widget to be able to chat with that librarian. You can have their contact information. That contact information could have their Twitter name, it could have their Facebook, it could have any of the other instant messaging options if they don't use a chat widget. And in addition to that, you can have, as Marilyn showed with the LibGuides, there she had a profile box with the faculty liaison that she works with for that Anatomy and Physiology of Domestic Animals guide. That's really something, again, that's going to help connect the user with that information. They see a live person there. Faculty involvement there. You can't beat faculty involvement. If you get them excited about this and providing resources, then it makes your job a lot easier in making that student successful. And last, this is really something that benefits librarians in a big way, especially if you're in an academic setting, if you have annual reviews or 10-year reviews, even if you have, when it comes time for, in any library setting, your evaluation, you can show that you have done this and this has enhanced your knowledge of what the library has to offer. It can help you be better with your collection development procedures, and really just can't be beat. It's like preparing a library guide can be like teaching, and as we all know, if you teach, then you learn the subject a lot better than you did before. There are some solutions in some of the articles that I read through when I was preparing for this. Some of the offered solutions for library guides to make them better is to offer them in new ways, make sure that they have a consistent look and feel, but also you want to retain some customizability so that individual authors can make it specific to their subject, can make it specific to their own individual style in some ways. You can also provide some scannability. You want to avoid that text overload. Make sure that you find images, video, audio, some of those things to break up the content. And also, as you saw with LibGuides, there are blocks of content, and especially you can reuse that content. Some of these open source software packages that I'm going to talk about also provide that option. So you're not recreating the wheel and you can go in and use the same block of information that you've already created for several different guides. And then breaking it up with images, video, audio. As much as you can do that, it helps to retain interest and freshness with the guide. And library content with Web 2.0, you can almost always with these software packages, you can enter in a tag cloud that provides some interest and linking with different subjects. You can do RSS, you can provide widgets that give you chat, or you could provide widgets that provide, I don't know, my head just went blank, but you get the idea. You can have the library content with Web 2.0. The actionable content, that I kind of define that as something that they can actually click on to use. So that might be a search box that, or a link that is a pre-canned subject search into the catalog or into a database. Something that they can click on and actually kind of interact with. And you also want to make these guides contextual to your users' needs. This is something that's come out of a lot of research that's been done about library guides. Like I said, they can get buried on in a website. They can be hard to find or hard to understand. Users don't know the terminology. If you make these guides contextual to their needs, then they will find them and be able to use them in a more real way. Some of the ideas that I came up with is to use course guides if you're in the academic setting. Course guides are specific to an actual course that's being taught in the school. That makes it more real and more usable to a student at that time than just a basic biology subject guide. You can make them how-to guides if you're in a public library setting, if you have a specific how-to do something, how to find something, how to, for instance, one of the library guides that I played with when I looked at my library a la carte software, I was creating a how-to guide to change your name. You want to make sure that you also are putting your library guides, link to the library guides, or put the library guides themselves in sort of a drop-down box on your home page. Don't bury them somewhere else. If you do that, they won't be found. And it's really the best way to market this great deal of subject expertise that you have developed in your library. Another way to make these findable is to catalog your subject guides. I haven't actually ever done that, so as a cataloger, I'm sort of cringing trying to catalog these things, but it's something to think about and consider if you're going to have these be a long-term solution. I have found, I actually talked to Eric Leese Morgan when I was investigating some of the software packages, and he's a co-creator of a package called My Library. And I also read an article by Meredith Farkas that they both had ideas in that I thought were very relevant, and it helped explain some of where library guide software is going today. Eric Leese Morgan, he described most of these software options as relational databases. They're databases in the back end, and these databases, they hold all the information, but we don't have to actually interact with those scary databases. I wouldn't do it. I definitely wouldn't do it. And what the software packages do then is they provide different interfaces to interact with that background database, so that we as librarians who are not system librarians and not techies and really don't want to know how to run a database, we can use the interface that's provided to work with this. And because they're relational databases, that's where the idea comes in that you can have the reusable content with these library guides, so you don't have to constantly recreate the wheel. And Meredith Farkas, her big thing with her article was that she was trying to find a software package that was, as she called it, low threshold and sustainable, meaning that a database, she wanted a guide, software system that would make creating the guides easy and also make them easy to update. If you remember back in the late 90s and early 2000 to 2005 or 6 or so, a lot of the library guides that libraries were creating were being made with static HTML pages. And if you have upwards of 20 to 50 library guides and the URL for a standard database, say EBSCO, changes, then you have to go into each and every one of those and change it individually. Whereas with the relational database, you go in and change the URL once, and it updates throughout every library guide that uses it. So this is definitely something that you want to pay attention to. Make sure that the software is easy to use for those people who aren't techies, but they still have that subject expertise, and also make it easy to maintain for both the systems librarian as well as the authors. And then most of these software packages offer a lot of the Web 2.0 technologies. You can use blogs, you can use social bookmarking sites. I'm going to go on to that here in a second. Those are easy to use. You can locally install it so that you have more control over your information and over the package itself, or if you don't want to deal with that, they have hosted options. There is a con where you have to realize that you're not going to get as much customizability or flexibility. You really have to work with what they provide. Sometimes they offer a fee option that gives you a little more customizability, more security, but with the free options, you don't get very much of that. And so branding and making it look like your library website and so forth may not be as easy as you would hope. And then you'll find that stability is going to be a constant theme throughout the rest of this presentation. All of these software packages have to be looked at with the question of stability in your mind. For those who you want, those systems that you choose that are hosted, you need to be careful of that third-party host. What happens if that company goes out of business? What happens if they change hands? What happens if they simply have a technological problem themselves and it goes down? You don't have access to your data. And then also, if it's a third party that's providing this software, whether it's hosted or not, even if it's locally installed, what happens if the people who develop that are no longer working for that library, or the library decides not to support that project anymore? Then you're stuck with the software that you may have put in a lot of time and effort that is no longer being supported. And if there's a problem or that you need to upgrade something and you don't know how to do that, then you're kind of stuck. So stability with these open source software packages is a big deal. And lastly, the other kinds of open source library software packages that I'm going to talk about are mostly database driven, locally installed. A lot of them are content or course management systems. They have a high level of customization. You can do a lot with them. They're very flexible. However, you are going to need someone on board who understands and can handle the systems level part of it. The technological aspects are going to have a high learning curve if you're not familiar with databases. And then again, you have the stability, software development and support. And you also need to be aware of the extensions. Some of these packages, like Drupal especially, they provide a lot of extensions that you can add in to have more functionality. But often these extensions may not be updated when the software itself is updated. So you may have a new version of Drupal come out, but if it doesn't work with that extension, then you have to stay with the old software or else give up that extension. Those are choices that you need to be aware of that you would have to make. When you're choosing a system, you want to look at your local infrastructure and support, meaning that you want to make sure that your administration is going to support you in what system you choose. You need to be sure that they're willing to put in either money towards a system, like if you wanted to buy LibGuides, or if you wanted to pay for a hosted option, pay someone to host your WordPress content management system in order to do this. You need to have knowledge and support from your staff if you're going to go with one of these open source systems. There's going to be just very high increase in your staff time, especially in the technical staff time. So there again, you need that support to be able to use the staff time The software may be free, but you have the hardware that you need to invest in. You need a web server, and then you also need a lot of staff time. Make sure that you know what your project procedures and policies are going to be. Again, technical expertise. This open source stuff isn't free. It means that the software itself can be free and you can do what you want with it most of the time, but you have to have the personnel to support it and you have to have the hardware. What can the library afford and how much is necessary? A couple of these packages, one especially that I'm going to go through, just stopped being actively supported in 2009. So while it looked like it could be a really great software system and you could still go out and use it because it's still available for download and installation, you have to know that it's not being supported anymore by the people who built it. Desired functionality. What is it that you want to be available from this software? Do you want just simple access to resources? That might be provided by Delicious, social networking, or a blog. If you want faculty involvement, you might need something a little more robust. If you want an instructional tool, and that's just a pretty basic thing, then one system may be better over another. And then, of course, you have to know the goals of the project that you're doing. What exactly do you want to do with this library guides project? The first software package that I'm going to go through is Delicious. So when I'm calling it a software package, that's not really correct. A lot of you know Delicious is a social networking website where you can, or social bookmarking website where you can go in and bookmark and tag library or any website at all, videos, audio, whatever you want. Delicious makes available some widgets that you can then place on your library webpage. The Delicious is easy to use. It's a matter of adding the link to Delicious, and you can add, as you can see on the slide here, you can add, just went right out of my mind. You can add descriptions about that link. That's what so you can have annotated links in Delicious that explain why that link is there, why you felt it was important. The problem with Delicious is that it is a text-only format and you have no options for embedding any sort of other interest in video or audio, no images, and you can't add additional content. A lot of the library guides software that we looked at earlier, or that I'm going to talk about later and that Marilyn talked about in LibGuides, provided that block content where you can add in your library hours, or you can add in your author information, you can have little blocks of web links, or you can have a block with RSS feeds, you can have blocks with videos. And with Delicious, you're pretty much stuck with one little box of just the links, web links, and bookmarks that come from Delicious. So it's also not customizable. You can't change the colors much. If you know CSS pretty well, you might be able to play with that a little bit, but if you don't know CSS, then you're pretty much stuck with what Delicious provides. And there again, we have the stability question. Delicious is a third-party vendor, and it's hosted, so if they go down, you're down. Here's another library that uses Delicious to handle their bookmarks, and then they provide that to their users. And it's just a link to their Delicious page. They have their bookmarks all in tag bundles over to the right, and then their annotated links on the left. And then a third way to embed Delicious links into your website, you can have a tag cloud that they provide. One thing you want to be careful of when you're using Delicious, though, is that the tagging, even if it's done by you as librarians, can be non-standard and non-contextual. An example is this tag that they have for free. What does that mean exactly? Why do they have a tag for free? Free what? If your user clicks on that, what are they going to get? It just seems to be kind of flung out there and without a whole lot of context. The next option that I put in here is Scriblio. Scriblio is a librarian take off of WordPress. WordPress is a content management system, and it's also heavily used as blogging software. Scriblio, as I have here indicated, created by librarians for libraries. Several of these software systems that I'm going to go through were created by librarians specifically for libraries. Scriblio was not created only to be a library guide package. It actually is more of a content management system that can also be an overlay for your OPAC. They wanted to provide more of an interface for your library website, for your library itself, and the library Pathfinder, the guide module, I guess for lack of a better word, is just part of the entire Scriblio package. This particular one is a local installation. You have to have a web server. Apache is recommended. You also have to know the PHP programming language, and you need to know how to use MySQL, the database backend. So there's just a hint of how much technical expertise you may need to have on hand to use these. I will also say that these resources, the PHP is free, Apache is free, MySQL is free, and there's a lot of information out there on how to use those, how to learn to use those. So if you have someone who's willing to put in the time, they may not know how to use these now, but if they're willing to put in the time and learn, the information is out there to do that. This is an example of Plymouth State University using Scriblio for their library guides. One of the things I wanted to point out real quick is that already I've looked at these, and while the software itself looks like it would be fine, they've chosen to use library speak. Not very many people know what database means. They, a heading that might work better here would be start here first, or search for articles here, begin here. Simple language choices that someone really, a layperson would really understand, as opposed to common database choices. WordPress is what Scriblio was adapted from. It's a common blogging software. WordPress is actually available in a hosted version online, free, but it's recommended. A lot of the libraries who would use this for library guides, they use it as a local app installation. Again, Apache, PHP, MySQL. And the library that's using it here, George Mason University Library, uses that as an entire portal for this particular subject. It's a very specific subject. They have tabs across the top that provides resources. It looks like it is almost a little text heavy, but they do have some added interest where they have actionable content. They have actually placed in here search boxes that people can do, and they have blocks of information rather than just long texts of print. The next option I'm going to go over is PBWorks. A lot of you are probably familiar with PBWorks. It used to be PBWiki. It's very easy to use. It's free. It does have a fee option that you get more design control from, and also more options as far as security and authorizations to be able to make it open to various levels of authority, or be able to lock down specific aspects or sections of a page. But if you don't go with that fee option, you have kind of a lack of design control. There's not a whole lot you can do. You can use a few of the themes that they make available, but as far as even color and design and formatting, you don't really have a whole lot of choice in it. Again, Stability is a third-party vendor. If they go down, you go down. And then as an example, this is Champlain College Library using PBWorks. This is something that I complain about with PBWiki all the time. They have this sidebar that you can't do. You can't make it go away. You can't do anything with it. So, of course, you use it for what you can, but it takes up a lot of valuable space, and it's an element that you can't really change or get rid of. And then just something, their design choice here they have a graphic image up here at the top, and it's nice to look at and everything, but it does take up a lot of valuable vertical space and just valuable real estate, period. Up here would be where you would want to put information on where people would start their research. MediaWiki is the other wiki software that is most often used for content management systems or for just wikis. It's used for a lot of library guide softwares. You have to have the web server, PHP, MySQL. You can also use PostgreSQL. It's not as well chosen, not as much used as MySQL. That's what I'm trying to say. MediaWiki is very customizable. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you an example of a library that doesn't look like it's MediaWiki at all, but it's very difficult. It's hard to do. Everything I've ever seen about trying to customize and change the design of MediaWiki is not fun. As far as Stability goes, it is popular and very well supported open source system. It's not provided by librarians, but a lot of libraries use it. And there's a lot of content out there to help you make decisions or troubleshoot or choose what you want to do and how you want to do it. I don't think MediaWiki is probably going to go anywhere very soon, but it's just something to think about. Here's Norwich University. They kind of buried, they have this, they have the language there for try these first as far as databases, but it's buried. It's not only buried in the contents, the table of contents that they provide, but it's buried in the middle of the page as well. Something that you probably don't want to do when you're creating a library guide. This one looks like you would expect a wiki. Wikipedia is based off of the MediaWiki software, so this looks a lot like it could be from the same template as Wikipedia. This guy has created the BizWiki, and he uses it for all of lots of different subject guides. He's embedded the chat option here. He's got videos as well as the guides themselves. I noticed when I searched around a little bit, the guides were a bit text heavy, but we know that other options can be added. You can add other formatting choices because he's done it on this main page. Oh, I thought I had another one there. Nope. Okay, we're on to research guide now. And I know that I'm just going really fast, guys, but I'm trying to get through here before my time is up. So bear with me. Research Guide is one of the software packages that, again, is created by librarians for libraries. The Eastern Michigan University Library is still using it for their subject guides, even though it is, as of 2009, no longer being developed or supported. You have to have, it's a local installation, you need to have a web server, PHP, MySQL. You'll see that a lot for these, web server, PHP, MySQL. They even mention on their own download page that they recommend programming expertise and readiness for the technical person, the systems librarian, to provide instruction on how to use the system. So while it looks like it could definitely be a software package that you would choose, it may demand a higher level of expertise than what your library may have. Subjects Plus is actually a software package that seemed like it could be fairly popular. It also looks like it's providing a lot of the look and feel of what you saw with LibGuides and what we'll see with a couple of other packages when I get farther on in the presentation. They have the nice aspect here where you could you see the human element of being able to know who your subject specialist is. You have related guides, books and ebooks, the blockable content that we were talking about earlier, and they have thrown in some images to make it a little more interesting. LibData is actually one of the more popular programs that I found out there. A lot of libraries are using it. They provide option for creating both course guides and subject guides separately. So it may be more interesting for the academic librarians out there. It is a well-documented system and created by librarians for libraries. As always, I have the mention of stability because it is a homegrown system. Even, if the librarians who developed it, if they were to go to another library, or if the library decided not to support it anymore, they wouldn't be able to provide it, and your library may be out of luck. The library example I have here is from St. Cloud State University. It has the contents of this page, so even though the page is going to be long and involved, at least you have the table of contents here. They also provide a lot of images here along with the links. Since I didn't install this myself, I didn't really read through all of their installation materials. I don't know if these little symbols and icons are specific to LibGuides, the LibData software, or if it's something that St. Cloud State provided to go along with the links. If you remember with Marilyn's presentation in LibGuides, there were a couple of little icon links next to the web link that she had there. One of them was a link to poll. You could poll. The word I'm looking for, you could kind of vote on whether you thought that link was a good link or not. And there was another little icon there. I can't remember what it provided, but if you have these, then it makes it easier for a user to identify what that link is going to provide in a visual manner. And then up here at the top, they do have an option to display only the highlighted core resources as opposed to the entire very long page of resources. They give you just the specifics that they feel are very important, which I thought was a good idea. I would probably make it bigger and easier to see, but it was good to have that. And then also they have an option for providing a print-friendly version of this page. This was the only guide where I found that an option, and I think that was an excellent idea because yes, we're in a web age, but we all admit it, we all print them out. My library is actually a much more robust system that was created. This was the one created by Eric Lees Morgan, and he actually took it, he created it while at North Carolina State University, I believe, and he took it with him when he went to Notre Dame and is still actively supporting it. It is more of a content management system than a software specific for library guides, but library guide modules are part of the system. So it would be a more robust, larger system than just for library guide software that you would have to keep in mind. Whether or not you wanted to use all of that is your choice. They offer one of the things that my library offers, and is, eek, I didn't want to do that. Darn thing. One of the things that my library was originally created to do is to create user personalization. It was created about the late 90s, in that time when there were a lot of emphasis on the Yahoo My Portals and iGoogle coming out and being able to personalize your homepage like that. So that's what My Library came from. My Library, one of the big things that they also support is importing MARC or metadata, accessible data, and you can import that into My Library and then syndicate it out with different interfaces through My Library. So as I said, it's a much more robust system than just providing library guides. It's very well documented and is still actively being supported, but consider what can happen since it is a homegrown system. This is the library guide sample from the University of Notre Dame, and I'm really impressed with it. I think it looks a lot like what you could see with LibGuides. It's a free resource if you have the technical expertise and the desire to use it. It can be much like LibGuides. You have the human content here, and you have tabs across the top providing different options for where users can start. And I really like this tab here on Get Started. I really did. I circled it. We're almost to the end, guys, so stick with me. Drupal is probably familiar, at least the name of Drupal is familiar to a lot of people who run around there with techies. Drupal is a full content management system. It's actually extremely robust. You can do so many things with it. You could handle your library website through Drupal. But there are these several modules that are highly suggested and used by many libraries to create library guides within that content management system. It's a very popular system, and it has a very high growing community of library users. There's a lot of libraries out there using Drupal, and there's a lot of information, articles and websites and links that talk about how libraries are using Drupal. Again, you have the local installation, but it is fairly simple installation. I actually played with it. I don't know anything about PHP. I couldn't even start using MySQL, and I was able to install Drupal through a virtual box on my machine. Very easy. If I could do it, and you have the time, you can do it. It does take some time if you don't know what you're doing. It's fully customizable and extensible, but again, in order to play around with these different modules and extensions and to understand what you're doing with the background, the database, it can take a lot of staff time to do this. Here's the example from Stanford University. When I was looking a couple of months ago, when I first started doing this research, I found that Stanford University was using Drupal for their library guides, and I went ahead and got this screenshot and was all excited. And then I went back a few days ago to check it again, and what I found out that Stanford is also using LibGuides. So here's your free LibGuides shot from Stanford University. I have to say that the LibGuides shot is a lot more attention getting. It has, while the Drupal aspect has a little bit in the way of actionable content and modularized content, the different blocks of text and information. Using the colors like they have in the LibGuides version is really much more eye-catching. And that was the other little icon I thought I saw next to the next to the web links in Marilyn's presentation. There's this little eye, and I'm pretty sure that when you click on that, it just provides you more information that the librarian could provide about that link. I know that one of the ways to use that eye is to put in information saying that this particular database is in library use only, as an example. Here's another university that's using Drupal, University of Mississippi. Again, there is some big block of text here, but you do have an option to search. I'm not sure. It looks like this might be a 360 kind of search, which is interesting. We have the human content here. We have Meebo chat. It makes it a little bit more like a pop. I'm having a hard time with my words today. More current library guide than, the, say, 2000 version. One of the things they did here that I thought was interesting is that they chose to make databases, block databases into recommended for undergraduate classes as opposed to recommended for graduate students and faculty research. I thought that was a really nice idea and hadn't seen that in other library guides before. And then the last Drupal example here is Indiana University, Purdue. They chose to throw in department websites, which, this doesn't necessarily look like it's specific to a course, but they've made it specific to a program of study at the university. And then, of course, they've added in a link to the department, trying to pull in, again, some of that knowledge from not necessarily a specific faculty member, but from the department itself. The last software package that I wanted to talk about is Library a la carte, and I was hoping that I would have time to demo a library guide that I created through them. I may or may not have time to do that today. I was really happy and impressed with Library a la carte, actually. It seems like a definite, easy to use alternative to LibGuides. So and it's also something that you would be able to do a local installation. One of the things with LibGuides is that you don't have necessarily control over your information. LibGuides is hosted content. Library a la carte makes it so that you could locally install and have your content available. It's very well developed and is currently still being supported. It's created by librarians for libraries, and it was created based on a usability study at I can't remember the specific university, but it's in Oregon right now. It's based on a usability study that showed students were really looking for a starting point to their research. So it came out of a specific point. They wanted to change the way they were making their information available, and they built this system around that goal. Again, it does require some technical expertise, but again, it is well supported and documented. Many libraries are using it. It's fully customizable. Oregon State University Libraries, that's where it's being developed, and this is an example of one of their library guides. As you can see, we have the blocks of content, much like you've seen with some of the other software packages as well as LibGuides. And I like that they made their information course instructor information. San Marcos Library, again, you have the tabs across the top and contact information, more guides about anthropology, the research help chat. And this is my favorite, I have to say. The University of Wyoming is using Library a la carte. I just found that out a couple of weeks ago. I think it's great, and I really don't have anything bad to say about their library guide. They have the chat widget, they have contact. This is a specific guide done by many librarians, probably co-reference librarians, but they have actionable content right here. They have a video on how to find materials in the library, and they also have this little neat little thing on choosing a research topic that I thought was a good idea and could be very helpful, acknowledging that there are other resource options outside of the library that can be valid to use. So I really was impressed by Library a la carte. As you can see, this is a homework example that you can do, and since Marilyn has her own of that she wanted you to contact her and so that she can set you up with a LibGuides account and create a LibGuide there. You can either do that for her, or if you want to, you can do this one, explore examples of library guides, and if you don't want to do this one, you can do hers, whichever one you want to do. And then there's an optional if you want more challenge and you want to actually play with creating a guide yourself. You can request a library a la carte demo account. That's what I did. And go ahead and play around with that. It's very easy. It was much like how Marilyn demonstrated LibGuides. That was a lot of the same methods were used when I was playing around with library a la carte. You will notice when you go there and ask for a demo, if you don't have a .org, .edu, or .gov domain email address, then you need to contact them and ask for an account. That's what I had to do. Or if you want to stay with the easy, simple stuff, then you can try Delicious, PBWorks, or WordPress. The online hosted version of WordPress is wordpress.com. That pretty much takes care of the presentation. I guess I have a few minutes left, but I think I'm going to leave those for questions. I think we had a couple of questions in chat. And we're looking for our
right here.
Chat questions.
No, they were just saying they need.
Oh.
Okay, does anybody have a question for Katie or for Marilyn? If you think of one, you can contact Marilyn Miller at Eastern Wyoming College at the library or Katie Lynn at the Wyoming State Law Library. These slides and the archive of today's presentation will be up on the Get on the Bus website probably tomorrow afternoon. Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you on the next Get on the Bus.